Hello everyone, this is Clone Division 7 and welcome to the first episode of Figures from Way Back. Now, before we get on with this video, I would like to point out that I decided to make this series where I made a review of action figures that's already been released way back from a year ago or 3 years ago and so on. So I'm not just going to review a newly released action figures, but I'll also be doing some reviews where I'll be reviewing older released figures. Okay, now that that's done, let's begin. Today we'll be talking about this. It's a super imaginative Chogokin, or S.I.C, as I like to call it, Volume 68, Mask Rider 1. Also known as Kamen Rider Ichigo, if you prefer a more Japanese name. Now, I got this figure way back in 2014 as a gift from my brother. He already pre-ordered this figure way back. He pre-ordered 2 of this figure. Back then, this guy cost for about 600,000 rupees. So if you convert it to dollars, this guy probably cost around $60. Okay, let's look at the box first. There's a big window at the front showing you the figure you're gonna get, which is really cool. You can see some of his accessories too. There's his name down there. There's the S.I.C logo, the Bandai logo, the Tamashii Nation logo. There's this cool white striping deco that goes from down here to up there, which is to simulate the white striping on his body. On the side, there's a Mask Rider 1 name, the S.I.C logo, the Tachibana Racing Team logo. On the back, there are some cool promo pictures showing him on his iconic pose and his rider kick pose. At the bottom, oh wait, on the bottom there are some Japanese written stuff. Probably says something about their marketing office, their legal stuff. I don't know. Alright, that's all about the box, and let's get this guy open and see how it look like. Here he is out of the box, and yeah, this is a really cool looking figure. There are so many details on his body, and the paint is really good. There's no mistake or whatsoever on the paint. And again, this guy's sculpt is really cool. It's really amazing. I mean, every part of his body is sculpted. And if you enjoy the Kamen Rider series, there's a chance that you will like this figure too. Especially if you're a huge fan of the Showa era Kamen Riders, the original Kamen Riders. Yeah, you're gonna love this figure. It does differ from his counterparts on the TV show, but it's a really cool reimagining of Kamen Riders. Like I mentioned before, there's so many detailed sculpt on his body. I guess you could say, yeah, every part of his body is detailed with sculpts. Again, like his glove, his gauntlet, his head, every part of his body is filled with sculpted details. But despite this guy have a really amazing sculpt, I do have some gripes about this figure, which is his chest piece right here. Mainly this chest piece right here. Now, this chest piece is a movable part. There's a, what do you call it? Dumbbell joints. Both are ball jointed, and it's movable. So when you're going to pull off some pose, this chest piece won't hinder you. But mine is really loose. It's really easy to pop off. So being the idiot I am, I decided to put a glue on his chest piece so it stays like that. And until this day, it's not coming off. But back then, it's really loose, you know. As you can see, it's really loose. And mine tend to came out of his place. So yeah, that really bugs me off. But other than that, this guy doesn't have much of a problems. So beware about his chest piece right here. It's a separate piece. It's movable, and be careful if it's easily pulled off. Looking at the paint now, this figure I know it's from 3 years ago, but there's no mistakes or whatsoever on this figure. I mean, everything is correct. There's no paint that bleeds out or factory faults. No, everything is spot on. The only thing that you might see on my figure right now is that the paint probably recedes to a much darker paint since it is from 3 years ago. Aside from that, there's not much of a mistake going on his body. The green paint on his armor is well done. The black, the silver on his boots and gloves, all perfectly painted. If you take a closer look on his torso, especially on his body armor, you can see that it's not just a solid green color on his armor. Apparently there's a clear plastic parts over here and the other side too, and underneath this plastic part it's a different shade of green. It's a bit more brighter green. Gauntlets and his glove, the silver is spot on too. There's no mistake or whatsoever. Apparently this part right here, it's not entirely silver, but it's a bit of like a green or a blue shade that's going on over here. Scarf is well painted too. I mean, it's not just a plain red painted scarf. There's a darker shade of red that goes on the bottom of the scarf right here, and there's a darker shade of red too on the top of it. And this guy's paint is really amazing, but it's not straight up, amazing, like right there, like bam, amazing. You gotta really have a look into it so you can notice some stuff. Now, going over at the articulation, his head is on a hinge and a ball joint, so you get the range of movement of a ball joint. So there's a movement of a ball joint right there. It can also hinges up and hinges down. The neck part is also works on a ball joint, so you got a much better range of movements on his head and his neck. So there's a side to side. You can also turn, and his neck sometimes move with him too. Now, looking at his shoulder, apparently there's a ball joint that goes into his torso over there, but it's covered by this cup, so it's really cool. So you get the movement of a ball joint on the shoulder. There's also a hinge that goes up like that. Now the shoulder pad is also on a hinge, so this shoulder pad's not gonna hinder any of his shoulder movement, so it's really cool. There's a bicep swivel, swivels around. Double jointed elbow goes that far, really cool. There's a swivel, hinge, and a ball joint on his wrists. So there's a combination of three different joints on his wrists. Swivel, you can adjust the position of the joints. Let me take his hands first, so you can see. There's the ball joint. There's the hinge. It goes up, goes down, and then it hinges around, but it's a bit there you go. It goes down like that. It goes up a bit tight, but yeah, it's movable. So when you put his hands and you wanted to move it around, see, it hinges up and down, back and forth, moves around, and the joint swivels around. So yeah. Looking at his upper torso, there's a ball joint on his diaphragm. So there's a movement of a ball joint. You can crunch it down like that. You can goes back that far. Not so much of a side to side movement, but it can swivel side. And then, like I said at first, the chest piece right here is it's movable, but you know mine is already glued, so can only move like that. Now the purpose of this is that it won't hinders his shoulder movements when you pose him up like that. There's also a ball joint on his waist, so combine it with the mid torso. It can goes down that far, goes back really far. It's odd. It's a bit odd. And then it tilts around and then moves side to side. Now the hips is on ball joint. Wait, let me hip. Oh, not hips. Wait, it is a hips. What am I, an idiot? The hips works on a ball joint, so it can goes up really cool, really far, goes back really nice. I gotta say it's really a nice back movement. Side, not so much. This is actually a part of my gripes. He's supposed to move a bit further than that. I don't know. Double jointed knee goes that far, really cool. There's a hinge and swivel on his ankle. Can hinges up, not so much due to the sculpts. Hinges back, again not very much, not much. And then it swivels around like so. Then there's the ankle pivot. Can move it like that and like that. And then there's the toe joints. So yeah, the articulation on this figure it's really amazing. It works really wonderful. You know, if you've been collecting these lines, and yeah, this is a huge improvement from the older series. And I know this is probably a bit late for me to start a review, but yeah, this figure is really amazing on its articulation. Almost forgot, his scarf right here, it's movable. There's a hinge and swivel that goes for his scarf, so it's not gonna hinder your movement. So you can move it around, you know, kind of give it like an action look, like windswept kind of look, like that, or like that. So it's a cool additional part for his body. Now for accessories, he comes with 2 fists, 2 relaxed hands, 2 chopping hands, 2 grabbing hands that I guess you could use if you have a third-party motorbike for S.I.C, 2 special effect parts for his rider kick and rider punch, and also his scarf is a separate piece, so it's not what do you call it, one with his body. It's a separate piece actually. An interchangeable heads that comes with a open mouth expression, and he also comes with a display base that has a battle damage squidroid, and it's separable too. Now changing his hands is really easy to do. All you gotta do is pop off his hand like so. There's no struggle or whatsoever, so it's really easy to pop off, but it doesn't mean that it's not staying there safely. No, it stays there safely, and it's pretty easy to pop it off too. And then you just need to pop in the hands that you wanted to use, like that. So it's really easy to change his hands, and it's really easy to change his heads too. Let me show you. All you gotta do first is just take his head off like so. Really easy to do. You can see the ball joint, and then place in the one that you wanted to use. This raging head. Wait a minute, let me fix. There we go. This raging head like that. So he's look like he's angry. He's opening his mouth like he's angry and he's hungry. And placing his special effect parts is pretty easy to do too. All you gotta do is just first remove it or separate it like so. Oh, I didn't know that this guy's gonna be hard, but as far as I remember, it isn't supposed to be that hard. But yeah, it's pretty easy to remove it. Anyways, you separate it or you remove it like so. So it's separate now, and then you place it somewhere around near his ankle, and then put the other one like that. Alright, so it stays on his legs, on his feet, on his ankle, like that. So if you want to do some cool rider kick pose, I guess it's gonna look like that. And putting on his rider punch effect is also pretty easy too. It works the same way, just like putting on his rider kick special effect parts. And to remove it, put it on his hand like that, on his wrist, and then place the other one like so. Right. So it stays on like that. Final thoughts? Yeah, I'm really happy with this figure. There's so many details going on with this guy. The paint is nice, the articulation is great. Again, I'm really happy with this figure. If you've been collecting S.I.C figure, this is a huge improvement from the older releases. I totally recommended this figure for you if you're a huge fan of Kamen Rider. You love the Showa era Kamen Riders and you like the darker reimagining of Kamen Rider from the TV series, then yeah, this figure is for you. Okay, that's it for today's figures from way back, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have some questions or some comments, put in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.